Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Manthy. So, Manthy, welcome.
Thank you.
So, Manthy, can you tell us your full type, please?
INFP jumper, double feminine, Fi-Si, consume, play blast.
Your sleep first, you said?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
gotcha. So you are the mopey, super introverted INFP, which is what INFPs should be. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. um, so when you got your official typing results back, what did you think and how did you feel?
Um, I guess it didn't really surprise me, because I had already pretty much figured out that I was a consume and that like I had a masculine Fi. Um, so what I guess I didn't really consider was the SI. I mean, people had told me I had it, but I didn't really believe it because I guess I felt more intuitive, you know. So I don't know. Um,
Well, I mean, you still are because you have double activated NF consume and it's double masculine, so it's still there. But I guess you would be lead sleep because um you're more saver control than gather. So can you talk about not liking chaos? Because obviously if or being a little bit afraid of chaos, just a little bit, obviously you're still a double observer, right? But
mhm.
because you're lead sleep, you would be more against the chaos and trying to be more a little bit more controlling. Can you share a little bit about that?
I guess with control chaos, I notice it more when it's with people. If people are like kind of chaotic and they're not coming to like a decision very quickly, that kind of like throws me for a loop. I get very anxious because I just want people to like tell me what decision they're making and we can go with it. Like so. I guess in terms of things like physically chaotic, um, I mean, I guess it bothers me if people are throwing things across a room, but if there's like stuff just lying around me, like I guess I kind of just go into sleep mode. I'm like kind of like picking things up if they need to be put back in their place. It's just kind of automatic. Um, so it doesn't really bother me too much as long as I can physically like control my surroundings.
One thing that you said that I found very interesting was you get very anxious when people are not making decisions, and you just want them to tell you the decision. It sounds like it's like a blast last thing because you're blast last, so you want someone
Mhm.
else to like direct the situation.
Yes. Yes.
And then you get anxious when no one's directing the situation because then
Mhm.
you're like in stuck in limbo land essentially.
Yep.
Um, so that's pretty interesting that you kind of projected that last
Mhm.
animal already.
Yeah.
Uh, now, um, because your lead sleep and your sleep is SF, so it's kind of cool because we both have like opposite animals almost. Like I'm play first and sleep last. So, but our animals are the same flavor. So we both have SF sleep. So with SF sleep, there's different dimensions to it. So I'm just gonna ask you some quick questions about it and just see kind of like how you personally, um, what do you call it? How you personally use them, I guess.
Okay.
So so part of SF sleep is having like an SI FI like health routine because the SI is routine, right? And FI is for your well-being. So there's exercise, um, meal prepping, eating healthy food. There's also for getting enough sleep, and then lastly is mental health. So like yeah, mindfulness essentially, or even seeing a psychologist perhaps. So how do you personally you know approach each of those different segments?
Um, I guess the three most important to me would be like my sleep routine, and my diet and my mental health. I guess those three, like, I kind of focus on. Um, but because, okay, well, let me go over my diet, I guess. I get very like I'm very health oriented. Like I need to know that I'm eating healthy foods because I just, I want to feel healthy. Um, so like I like used to go on like these weird diet fads or whatever, like get into different things. But what stuck was, I guess, like a vegetarian diet and like gluten-free kind of stuff. Like, I guess I just stuck to those, and I've consistently just kept that my diet for like a number of years now. Um, and then my sleep, like I don't know, I need at least 8 hours of sleep. I prefer to get 9, but I guess if I'm not going to bed early enough, then I feel like really tired in the morning, and I need my like sleep routine, and I can tell like my like mind. I don't know. I just feel really tired during the day if I don't get that. Um, then like my mental health. I guess that I used to do a lot of writing, um, specifically like poetry type stuff. Like I guess just get my feelings out. Um, like I process my emotions like when I'm watching a show or something. I kind of latch onto the character and kind of like experience like I kind of project my feelings onto them and like try to like go through the process with that character to basically process my own emotions about like something. So that's more what I do now. I don't write much anymore. But exercise, like I used to be into exercise, but I'm a very lazy person, so I'm not, that's not something I can stick to. So yeah,
Well, you know, being lead sleep and blast last, that's not going to help you with the exercise stuff.
yeah,
Yeah. Although I've seen a lot of lead sleeps get into like long distance cardio, you know, like running or something or cycling. So, um, I could potentially see you like pursuing that at
yeah.
some.
I used to cycle like a lot when I was younger, but I don't really have like a place to do that now.
Yeah,
So I guess I kind of just focus on like eating healthy instead. Um, so I don't need to exercise as much.
that's funny. My girlfriend is like same animal stack as you. She's also sleep consume play blast, but she's an INTJ jumper. And
Okay.
for her, for some weird reason, like the nutrition eating healthy thing never stuck, but like the exercise did. So for her, going to the gym, lifting heavy weights is like something that like kind of stuck. So it's kind of interesting for you guys. Whatever routine you get stuck on is completely different. You know, all you like
Mhm.
sleep individuals.
Yeah.
Um, so the next part of SF sleep I want to ask you about is your emotions. Okay. Um, being having SF sleep myself, I when I was younger, I was able to kind of figure out like which emotions I struggle with the most. So I'll just use myself as an example, and then I'll pass it back on to you. Um, so when I was younger, in my like teens and early 20s, the emotion I struggled with the most was sadness, anger, and anger was specifically from feeling controlled, and then loneliness was the third one, right? So sadness was because I didn't have a dad growing up. And then anger was because I felt like being controlled by my mom because my mom's an IJ. And then the third one was loneliness because I kept getting friend zone and I couldn't get a girlfriend. So
Okay.
yeah, so I did eventually come to terms with those. Like for like being controlled by my mom, I just moved out. And then for feeling lonely and stuff, I ended up like learning how to talk you know, to women and until like I got a girlfriend eventually. And we've been together for 10
Hmm.
years, which is awesome. So and then now that I'm older, it kind of switched. Now my emotion that I struggle with is like different now. Like number one is now frustration because it's like I'm frustrated with like my life, my situation, and then followed by feeling constrained, like creatively constrained. Sadness is still there, but it's not as bad as before. Loneliness is gone, sweet, so it's good. It's good that one of them is away. And anger is still there, but it's different now. It's feeling disrespected, and which is my fault because I disrespect the SF, which I'll ask you about in a bit. Um, so, what about you? As you got older, what emotion have you specifically struggled with, and what have you done about it to kind of like make it less of a struggle, or is it still ongoing in terms of like a struggle?
Okay. Well, like I kind of relate to you with like anger and sadness, like at the beginning. Um, I guess I was just like a very like the anger kind of started when I was like 12, I guess, just like I didn't have like a happy family situation. Like my parents were divorced from like early on. So I guess a lot of anger and sadness like sprung from that. Um, but I guess that's why I turned to writing. I'd like write out all my feelings, and um, I had a boyfriend at that time, so like sadly I took a lot of my anger and sadness out on him. So and I mean that was kind of an issue, like going into my 20s. I mean my basically like when I by the time I got to my 20s, I figured out like my mental health is like not great and I need to like work on it. So I actually used meditation to kind of control my emotions because like I guess they were very overpowering. And so I guess I used like I was very into religion back then. I mean I kind of phased out of it and then got back into like, practicing a religion. Um, but like that really helped me using like meditation and prayer to kind of even out my like anger and sadness. That helped a lot. Now I kind of also relate to frustration, but I guess for me, it's more about other people being in control of my life, like not being in a place where I really want to be, like um, because like right now um, we are still like saving up money to like buy a house, and so like I'm at that point where I'm just like frustrated that I can't have that yet.
Yeah.
So it's just so I guess other people controlling like situations in my life really gets me. Yeah.
It's funny you said that because I'm in the exact same boat as you. I'm also saving. Me and my girlfriend are saving up for our own house, and
Uh-huh.
then we're living with my mom right now temporarily.
Yeah,
And then
same.
I was like, I have no control of my life. I feel so frustrated. Like I go to the kitchen, there's like people, like I don't have like the routine that I want, like FISI. And yeah, so when you
Hmm.
said that, I was like, I feel like we're in the exact same boat. It's
Yep.
it's it's so annoying, so frustrating.
Uh-huh.
I understand it's temporary. You probably know it's temporary, but it still
Hmm.
doesn't change the fact
Yeah.
it's frustrating. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of cool. We're the same quadra, so we can speak the same language. So I
Hmm.
feel like I totally like get where you're coming from.
Uh-huh.
Um, okay, so the next part of the SF sleep that I want to ask you about is the actual SF itself, which is like, being cool, popular. Uh, it's sleep, so it's your own version of it, but it still has to be kind of like aesthetically pleasing or still
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
So earlier I mentioned to you that I felt like one of the emotion I struggled with was anger because I was getting disrespected. But it was really my fault because I disrespected SF, so I don't like present myself well to the tribe in a way that's like more you know more SF cool, I guess you could say. And as a result, the tribe disrespects me. But it's really my fault because I didn't respect the SF, right? Because the SF is super important. So since you're lead SF, how do you personally approach that? And is that something that you struggle with, or is that something that kind of comes easy for you? And I mean, obviously, this is a hard question to answer because you're an IP. So seeing the tribe perspective is hard to begin with. Or is it something like you just don't see the tribe at all? So it's like you're kind of like not even aware that it's the disrespect is happening, or if it's even happening. Maybe it
Um,
happened.
I guess yeah, it is a hard question to answer, but like man, like I feel like I see the tribe pretty well. Like I can see what they want from me pretty easily. So that's I guess what's weird to me about being an IP. Like I don't know how I'm able to like see what they want from me. But the issue is that like I'm not always willing to give them what they want. So that's where I guess like the lead um MFI comes in. Like I'm very like uh interested in what I want compared to what other people want. So uh but like with SF, like the coolness, I don't know if I am like around a lot of people I don't know. I'm like I look very anxious because like I don't know people, I don't know what they want. Like I guess if I don't know what they want, then I can't like navigate anything. So that's really hard. But if once I get to know a person, um, I become like really laid back, and like I'll joke around with people and like kind of tailor my humor to like match theirs, So, um, so I guess that's where I'm like SF cool, I guess. But that's my perspective though. I don't know if they see me that way.
Yeah. So one thing you said that was interesting was like you said that you can see what the tribe wants from you, but you're not willing to give them what they want.
Mhm.
But because you're an IP, do you know what they want for themselves? Can you see
What,
that? Or like
um,
can you see what the tribe wants for themselves? Not what they want from you, but what they want for themselves. Because usually when they want something from you, it's because they want something for themselves. So
yeah.
can you see what they want for themselves, or is that something that's difficult?
Um, Gosh, I would like need kind of an example. I don't know. I'm not really like, do you have like an example of like how that would like be different from like, you know, what's the difference between wanting like something for themselves versus me seeing what they want from me? Like,
Well, like I'm an EP, right? But I'm tribe above self, so I'm keenly aware of what the tribe wants at all times. So if someone wants something from me or they're freaking out at me, I can objectively kind of look at the situation. I don't take it as personally at the front end. I kind of like, so this person's acting like this. What do they really want? Because they're saying this, but I think they want
okay,
something. I think they really want this. So it's like knowing like they're asking something from you, or they want you to do something, but that's not really what they want. It's something else that they want. It's just like this is a cover up for something else.
okay,
So
yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see what they want, like what people want for themselves. I guess like to me, it's just like amusing when they're like taking it out on me. Um, you
yeah.
know, so I don't know.
Okay, so because you're an INFP, you have TE at the bottom. So would you say like connecting with people through work is something that you crave and something that you'd like to have? Is having more of like a team oriented work
Um,
or not really?
I guess as long as I know the people, like I need to get to know the people really well before I feel comfortable like working with them.
Yeah,
Um, Otherwise, I choose to like work by myself. But I actually do prefer working with people than like working alone, because it helps alleviate some of the stress. Because I guess like the last, like I'm not always able like to produce something, so it helps when someone jumps in and helps me with it.
right. I watched a video a long time ago by Dave and Shan, and they had like a they had an INTP and ISFP. So the difference is obviously TE at the bottom and FE at the bottom. So for the INTP, it was the Forrest Gump guy, and he said that he wants to connect with people like emotionally, having people like to spend time with and stuff. But like the ISFP, which is similar to INFP, because you guys both have T at the bottom,
Uh,
he's like one of his biggest fear or things that bothers him is like not being able to connect with people through work. So like not having that place where
mhm.
they can work on projects together and stuff. It's kind of
Yeah.
weird when you think about it. It's like what work? But I have TE also, so I totally get it, right? So
Uh-huh.
um so you said that so let's say you do get let's say the people that you're working with is people that you are familiar with now. Like they got to know
Hmm.
you, you got to know them. Uh
Hmm.
would you enjoy that process of like working together? And is that something that you like would like to have more in your life? Like what is your like work situation like if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I'm a teacher, so very play blast kind of job.
Yeah,
But so like most of the time I'm actually like on my own, like doing, well, okay, besides like when I'm with kids, like teaching them, um, like most of the work behind the scenes is alone because, like I'm the only teacher teaching like my subject. So like I don't have anyone to work with. But like next school year, I'm gonna actually have someone to work with and someone that uh I actually get along with well. So like I'm actually excited about that because like I like it because when I have a problem I can't figure out, like I can take it to her. I can like just send her a message and like say, hey, we have this problem, like we need to figure out what we can do. And she's like right on it. So that's so nice that I can like go to someone and can like figure it out, you know. So
What grade do you teach?
uh I'm teaching fourth and fifth grade.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you said that, there was like excitement in your voice, and you definitely light it up. So yeah, it's definitely true that for you guys, the INFPs, um, craving teamwork is something that like is really there. And you know, if you can get the right situation with the right person, I think it's like match made in heaven, essentially. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, okay, that's super cool. I want to talk about your next animal now.
Okay.
Double masculine NF consume. So it double activated. So this is why you kind of have like the Elon Musk effect happening because he's like also lead sleep, but he's double activated NT consume, but yours is NF consume.
Mm-hmm.
How do you personally experience that double activated, double masculine NF consume? This is gonna be like right in your face. Like you cannot not look away from this.
Like, you know, I was like confused about like what I'm consuming because like it doesn't to me, I guess it's just so natural. Like I don't even know I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess like things that I consume, I'm not even like I guess like it was my interests like kind of spread out a lot, like I'm interested in psychology and like typology stuff, but but then like the issue is that like I kind of lose interest over time. So it's like, you know, I hop from one thing to another and I can't like stay focused on something. And if I do try to stay focused on something, I get very frustrated. So like I have to like jump to the next thing to focus on. So so I don't know, like I guess I didn't feel like I was actually consuming anything. I guess I'm like jumping from things so much.
Okay, let's look at the different parts of the NF consume, and maybe we can
Okay. Yeah.
um figure this out better. So the first part is um gathering new experience for self, right? So because
Mm-hmm.
it's NF, um, NF is like the sense of purpose, meaning in life and whatnot. So do you find that, you know, when you have a new life experience, like traveling to a new place or maybe reading a new book, um, you know, even meeting new people, perhaps, do you feel like there's like a sense of new purpose and meaning in your life, like like an energy that comes in, and you're like, you feel suddenly super motivated, you know, life feels much more rich as a result, like, you know, obviously you're from you mentioned earlier you're from South Africa, and then now you live in the US now, you know, and you probably travel to other places as well. Like, how do you feel when you have that new experience? Does it feel like, do you feel energized, do you feel motivated as a result, inspired, or
Um, yeah, well, okay, so I guess um like okay, I mentioned earlier how like you know like I had like religion, um you know, like I was very into like my religion or whatever, like so um something I did from young was like kind of get fully immersed into one religion, and then like I felt the need to like um hop to another one and then become fully immersed in that. So like I took an anthropology class in college, and part of that anthropology class was to go like become like part of a community, like of my choosing, and you know like basically just write about my experiences. And so like I chose like you know just a church nearby, and became like fully immersed into that like culture. And I guess I guess I really like that, and like I don't know. And like that kind of drove me to become more familiar with other religions too. And I guess whenever like I pass by like some sort of temple or church, like I automatically like want to go in and experience it. Because I guess that's just part of my thing that I like enjoy looking at. Uh, I don't I don't really travel that much. Like we go some places, but it's not very often, I guess, because I'm more of a homebody. So yeah, I don't know. I'm like I know I'm not doing a good job answering that question. I just don't know what my NF is really doing.
Oh no, no, don't worry. I'm just thinking of like examples so I can like help you know, make it more clear. It's okay if you're a homebody because I'm also a homebody, but like I travel a lot, so I kind of go the extremes. It's either
Okay.
I'm traveling a lot or I'm just at home all the time. So it's not
Mhm.
like those people with like SEFE, like ESTPs or whatever. They're always like out and about in their like local community, but but so anyhow, you mentioned going to like religious buildings and stuff, and you're really fascinated about different cultures and whatnot. And I guess I remember when I was backpacking in Africa, when I was in like Namibia, um, I met this guy. I think he's like an INFP also, and like he was really into like people photography. Like he likes photos of like different cultures, so he would go to like different African tribes and take pictures of them and stuff, and different African
Okay.
countries. And I was like, his pictures are really cool, but I'm like, I would never even imagine taking pictures of people like for this. I don't even think about it because I'm not a decider. I'm an observer, right? So like I
Uh-huh.
take pictures of landscapes and stuff. So like things, right?
Uh-huh.
So I mean, I'm like, what is this obsession with like people? Like I didn't know about
Uh-huh.
PS back then, right? So like
Uh-huh.
so I'm gonna guess for you, you're kind of similar. Like when you see like cultural like groups of individuals or even people portraits, that it's fascinating to you, I guess, because you have
Hmm.
a fascination with people. Would that be
Yeah.
is that about right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I guess what I'm like most interested in is like how people are interacting, like the interactions between people, like how they differ between different
Right.
cultures. That's what's like fascinating to me. Um, yeah, so I mean, not like, and then okay, so when I used to go out with like a family member or whatever, and we'd like go eat out at a place. Like I find myself drawn to like looking at other people and like trying, I don't know, just kind of like listening in on like a conversation or whatever. Just I don't
Yeah.
know, it's just like I guess I'm automatically like drawn to like what people are saying around me.
Yeah.
So,
It,
yeah.
it's so funny you said that because I interviewed this girl. She's an ISFP, and I still talk to her actually outside of Facebook once in a while. So she said her favorite thing to do was to sit in like a boardroom meeting, and she just sits there and listens to people talk, and she like enjoys like the back and forth conversation, and she's like giddy about it, and I'm like, what? But then it's fun. It's cool though because I think it's like an IP thing, right? So
Uh-huh.
um, do you feel excitement also if you're like in a situation there's like a kind of like a big back and forth conversation going on and you're kind of just like a fly in the wall like listening in? Like do
Mm-hmm.
you find that fun and it kind of like
Yeah.
enjoyable?
Yeah, I guess yeah I do.
And,
Um
yeah, sorry, go ahead.
like I mean it's also the way I kind of like learn because when if there's like a conversation going on, I like actually remember details better than if someone's just like telling me something like
Yeah.
just talking to me. Like I'm less likely to remember what they're saying, but if I'm listening to a conversation, I'm more likely to remember.
So what is exciting about that watching that back and forth thing? Like what about it is like kind of like fun, exciting, enjoyable? Like I'm just curious because obviously I'm not a decider, so I want to
Yeah,
I want to know what from you guys' perspective, like what's so like enjoyable and fun about that.
gosh, I honestly don't don't really know. Um, I I guess I just pick up on like people like to me like people's facial expressions and like their changes in like their voice and stuff. Like if
Yeah.
they're like talking to each other, that's like fascinating to me. Um, and I don't know. I guess I'm not really sure what it is really. I mean, it must just be like an IP, the way the IP brain works or something.
Yeah, no, for 100%. Like I was watching like you guys, the INFPs, but also your like fellow IPs, right? Like the ISFPs, ISTPs, and INTPs. You guys all love being in like around people and like listening in, like from what I've seen, and like
Mhm.
just like the back and forth conversation somehow it's like exciting and fun.
Yeah, well,
Like,
I think it's also got to do with like because my play is third, I guess like that's like my hobby animal. So
Right.
like I really enjoy being around people and like having conversations with people, even though like they're scary. Like if I don't know the person, it's scary, but like, I still enjoy being around people.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense. I guess with the positioning of your animal there. I'll ask about your social type later on too, obviously. So because this
Okay.
this is a good segue. You know what? Why don't we talk about it now since we already brought it up?
Okay.
What is your social type, by the way? If you had to.
Okay. Well, like okay, so I went and watched my typing video again, and because like Shan said that she guesses that I'm a three, and I've been looking into what the social type, like the different definitions of social types, and I don't really agree with that. I think I'm a just based on like the fact that I enjoy being around people and I want to make friends and so on. Like I don't really, because threes seem driven by like their achievements and stuff, and I don't really feel like I relate to that.
Oh, I see. So you said you're a four. And then you got cut off the moment that you said the number.
Um,
No worries.
okay.
Um, so you think you're a four, and then three is like a savior still, but it's not you're not the main three because you don't have the flex, the ego flex. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I don't know if well, oh, so like is a person two types or just one?
If you're a four, then it's like the best way to look at it is like sexual modalities. If you're like, for example, you're tester and um visual, right? So and then you will have what's the word I'm looking for? Audio activated also. It's like third, and then last would be like kinesthetic, because the opposite of tester is kinesthetic, right? So the socials is exactly the same way. So if you're a four, then automatically you have three as a savior, and then two, and then
Oh,
yeah, and then two is your like activated hobby social type, you could say.
okay,
And then one would be like the missing, not missing, but like the most difficult one, right?
okay,
So if you're a four, then you're automatically a three also. So maybe she
okay,
saw the three aspect of it, but she didn't see the four aspect because you're lead sleep.
okay,
And it's kind of
yeah,
confusing with that, like,
mhm,
because you're if you're lead sleep and you're a four, that's like that's a cognitive dissonance, right? Because you love people, but then you're lead sleep. So it's like, what the hell's going on, right? Like my
yeah,
girlfriend is like you, like she's lead sleep and she always avoiding people. But the moment people are there, she's so happy, So it's like, and I had to point it out to my girlfriend. I was like, hey, you love people. You're so excited when people are around. You're a four. And then he's like, I know it's so weird. Cause like, she's like, I don't want to hang out with this person. This person wants to hang out with me. I'm like, every time you come home from hanging out with someone, you're so happy. Go hang out. And she
mhm.
comes home and she's like so excited. And then I'm like,
Aw.
so it's like, yeah, like it's tough for you guys because of that cognitive dissonance, right? Like
Mhm,
that is like the worst thing possible. Like a four and lead sleep.
mhm.
And David Chan said the animal is the boss, not the social type. So
Okay,
the sleep is the boss,
okay, yeah,
which
that
kind of
makes sense.
goes against what you actually want, which is friends. So it's like,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
it's like, I'm always like, saying I want more friends, but then I can't like actually go go out and get more friends. It's a struggle for sure.
yeah, that's so annoying. That's like the most annoying like combination. Um but back to the point again earlier. So I did notice, like, I have friends who are like IPs, and then they're like, no, I don't want to hang out in a group. They'll say that, right? I don't want to hang out in a group. And then we go hang, and I somehow convince them to go in a group, and they're like
Hmm.
begrudgingly attending this group event. They're happier than I am. They're happier than everyone. It's so ridiculous. It's frankly the most ridiculous
Hmm.
thing I've ever seen. So I think, like, it's so
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like, you love people, like a lot of IPs love people, and then they're like, I
Hmm.
don't want to do it. But then when they get there, they're like
Uh-huh.
exploding with joy. It's like,
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do with the habit, like sleep forms a habit, and then to like break away from that, to like just go out like sporadically with people, like it's a difficult thing to do, to be
right.
like spontaneous. Yeah.
Okay, so that makes sense for you because you're lead sleep. But I know people who are like consume play. They don't want to do it. So
Mm.
it's still ridiculous. But anyways, I
Yeah.
digress. Let's talk about your third animal. It's NT play. Um,
Mm.
so NT's problem solving. It's also like figuring things out, which is I guess is problem solving. Um, do you do you enjoy problem solving with other people because it's in a play state? Like,
Uh, yeah. Yeah, I do. Like, yeah, figuring things out. Like people tend to like, you know, come to me with a problem so that I can like figure it out for them. Um, but I guess like I can get annoyed if like someone comes to me and they like want advice and like I'm like trying to help them out with it, but they don't want to take it, you know, and like that's annoying to me. Like, why did you come to me with this problem if you don't want me to help you solve it? So yeah, so like that can be annoying if they don't like. I don't really understand like what their point is, um, but yeah, like. But I do enjoy like the puzzles and stuff. Like my husband plays games and like I like to help him figure it out because he gets really frustrated with that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
like I'm there like telling him like no, turn it this way, turn it that way, and like, you know, like get it to fit or something. So like that stuff's fun to me.
it sounds like it's you're having trouble with the TIFE access people because they come to you and you think they're asking for help for a solution, but they're actually they just want to emotionally vent with the F.
Yeah, they want to process. Yeah.
Yeah, but like you're thinking it's like NT or like let's solve this problem, and then later on you realize, wait a minute, you were never there to solve a problem. You're there to vent. So
I
it's
know. Yeah.
and then it
That
kind
that's
of like
kind of
it's
that's kind of
annoying.
what I had to learn, I guess, with my husband because I think he's TI and he'll come to me with a problem and I'm like, oh, here's some solutions. You know, do this, do that. And then it's like, and then he gets frustrated with me because it's like he doesn't want solutions. He just wants to vent and it's tough. Yeah.
Yeah, because earlier on during the interview, and then we're talking about like certain animals and stuff, and we're like, I'm like, okay, let's go figure this out. And I saw from your like the look of your face, you're like, you were ready. You're like, yes, let's figure this out. You know, like you were like ready. So there's definitely like the NT plays, like, yeah, I'm ready to like problem solve with the tribe, and this is
Mm-hmm.
fun, this is exciting, you know. So, okay, so that's cool. That it's definitely you have it in a hobby state. And if you are a four, save your friends, you do enjoy that like problem
Mm-hmm.
solving thing. So it sounds like you need to make more friends in the same quadra as you or similar,
Mm-hmm.
like more like ENFPs, ESTJs, ICJs, and other INFPs, maybe like the standard version as you're because you're
Mm-hmm.
right. So you know what? I've never seen INFPs hang out together. That's something like I've never seen. Like I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's like a clash thing, like you don't like to hang with someone the same type as you, but like I've never seen it. It just I have never seen
Yeah.
INFPs hang out with each other.
I guess I don't know. I don't like. I mean, I don't know if I have like an IP friend or anything. But I guess I can kind of see it. Um, just like I'm a very reserved person. Like sometimes, so if I can tell someone doesn't seem comfortable like to talk to, like if they're not approachable, then that kind of makes me like put up like a wall. Like okay, well I guess I'm not approachable either. So it's like two unapproachable people just like in a room and it's just awkward.
Have you ever watched like those Frank James videos? Like he has those like I don't know if you know him. He's an INFJ. He's like a YouTuber. He does like skits of 16 personality types.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, he made one skit that I really like. It was like when your group member is more introverted than you are. Because he's an introvert, right? And then he did a skit of him being an introvert talking to like someone even more introverted. And it was like
Uh,
super awkward. It was so funny. And then I was like, I'd love to see this in person, like two introverts. I'm just gonna go sit there and watch and see.
uh-huh. See
And
what happens.
yeah, because this is kind of I'm like, someone has to talk first. I don't know which one.
Well, well,
Someone
what
has
would happen is someone would just like get up and walk away, like who would be the first to leave, basically. Because I guess if I'm in like an awkward position, like I'll just get up and leave. Like I'm not gonna stay there in the awkwardness.
yeah, but like I think the example he used was like like a group project. So you have to talk
Okay.
together. So
Oh,
I'd love to be in a group like that where it's like two introverts come in and then you have to talk because you have to do the
uh-huh.
work, right? So I want to be like the fly in the wall for this situation and be like, oh
Uh-huh.
yes, what's gonna happen? This is gonna be so awesome, you know?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I think that's kind of like my husband and his dad, like they literally just like sit in the room in silence, and like even when I'm around his dad, it's kind of like awkward because like he doesn't talk really, and I'm like the one trying to like bring up things to talk about, and it's just like, okay, well, we're done with it, with whatever the topic was, and it goes back to like complete silence, and it is insanely awkward.
That's painful.
Yeah.
Um, all right, let's talk about your last animal. Double feminine ST blast last. So not only is it last, it's double feminine, which makes it even harder. But you're a teacher, so you have to SD blast.
Hmm.
You have no choice, otherwise you wouldn't have a job. So
Yeah.
so how did you feel with that SD blast when you were younger, as you grew up, and then the struggles with it, and then finally when you had to do it as a job, and now you have to blast. And did you pick teaching as a career because maybe there's like a part of you that kind of felt like this is something that you need to work on, and it kind of like almost subconsciously like kind of you gravitated towards because of that fact that you needed to learn how to SD blast. What's
Um,
your take on that?
I think it is like it was a subconscious thing. Because like, okay, like a long time ago when I first like started getting into MBTI stuff, like I thought, okay, I was like an INFJ, right? And um, like I don't know somehow, but like I thought I was like the NITI, right? So like I thought I was an INFJ jumper, I guess. And so then like I thought, okay, so that means I'm like lacking in FE, right? So I guess I knew I was lacking in DE somewhere. And I just thought like, okay, I need to kind of get myself on a track with like I can be around people. So like I guess I chose like childcare in some form, like as my like kind of career path. Because I don't know, kids are easy to talk to. Um, so I guess like I have an easier time with kids than adults. So I was like, okay, this is my way. This is my way in to like work on my D. Um, but like I think I use a lot of my sleep to kind of connect to my blast somehow because like I honestly don't know how I blast. Like I have no idea. Like um I think I mean I mostly just use my sleep and play to kind of get through the day most of the time. So
It's so funny that you said that you chose to work with kids because it's easier to talk to them. It
mhm.
reminded me of like, I don't know if you ever saw those personality hacker um like website. They have like a picture of like your first function is like an adult, and then the second function is like the co-pilot, the third one is like the teenager, and the fourth one is like a child. So like your if you think speaking with kids is easier, it's because maybe your TE is the child, and so you have to talk to a child.
Uh-huh.
This child to child, and so I just made that connection. So I thought it was kind of funny that you chose that because I don't think talking to kids is easy. But I can do it because I've worked with kids also. But I just thought it's funny that you mentioned that. So I was like, oh my god, it's almost like subconsciously you knew that your TE is like your least developed function, and then therefore
Mhm.
you need to start small, and
Yeah.
which is kids. Um, so it's kind of interesting that you chose that path. But you're not teaching younger kids, so you're teaching grade 5, so that's like a little bit older kids, right? Grade 4 and 5.
Yeah, they're kind of like in between. So like, they have little minds of their own and I mean, so yeah. Um they're easy to work with. I was actually teaching high school for 1 year, like, I don't know, a year or so ago, but and that was not for me. Like I cannot deal with high school kids. It's like no.
What grade in high school did you teach?
uh t 10th grade, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're older. They're older.
Yeah.
I think
I don't know what it is. It's like I guess I have this idea that like kids at that age should like be responsible themselves, and like, I should not have to like be the one like telling them you need to do this, and it's like telling them to study or telling them to do their homework. Like I figured like you should be at an age now where you can just do all that by yourself. And like I don't like being responsible for like, kids not doing their work. Like that really like stressed me out. I guess the control part, like with I did not enjoy that, like having to control those kids in any way. So I guess I moved to younger kids, which is kind of like weird because you think I the kids who are more responsible, but to me, actually, like my experience was that the younger kids are more responsible than the older kids.
what subject did you teach in grade 10?
Chemistry.
Chemistry? I think that's like the problem. Like this is me just as an EP speaking, obviously, but like
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem is with the school system because I feel like when you're like in grade 5 and you have like a broad things that you're learning, I think that it's still kind of relevant. But I feel like the moment you get to like grade 8, um, I feel like you don't need to learn certain stuff anymore. Like you don't need to learn chemistry if that's not going to be your career path. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the kids will not have any interest in learning it,
Yeah.
and if they're not interested, they're not going to do their homework. Plus, like,
Yeah.
well, there's also the high school dynamics of like trying to be cool and stuff, and there's like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
hormones kicking in. There's also like teenage angst, so there's like so many factors
Mm-hmm.
involved. It's just a mess, really. So uh,
Yeah.
and then it's hard to change the school system because obviously it's gonna take a big overhaul and just like there's no funding for that. So um
Yeah. I
so
mean, what you mentioned is like, I mean, it's accurate. Like, I guess from like a blasting standpoint, like there were too many variables for me to control. I
yeah.
just couldn't handle that. So like I moved to like a lower grade where there are less variables because at that age, like the kids are learning responsibility. Like they're not perfect at it, but they're actually like really motivated to try. And then like they're still motivated to learn because they still have that all that curiosity. So it's just
Yeah.
like the perfect age group to like be working with.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So I think that's definitely a better fit for you based on how you're describing it.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting, like Blast Last, wanting to be a teacher because I've interviewed a few Blast Last individuals who have always been fascinated with their last animal. I think it's like subconsciously for you guys too, right? Like you didn't even
Mm-hmm.
know it was like you had Blast Last. Um,
Yeah.
like my girlfriend's Blast Last, and she's studying to be a teacher right now. She's
Oh wow.
going back,
Nice.
yeah, going back to university. She already has a degree, and she's trying to get a teaching degree now.
Okay.
She's also a 4 like you, it's like a social type 4. Um, and she wants to teach grade 3. So and then she's Blast Last. So it's like there's like a fascination with like your last animal. Like for me, like I'm sleep last, so I'm fascinated with like I don't know if you saw some of my older video, like some of my videos where I did like explainer videos, and I try to make them
Mm-hmm.
graphically like nice and stuff with like the explain.
Yeah.
So I felt like that's my SF sleep. Like I'm trying to like have a
Uh-huh.
creative outlet for like explainer stuff. So
Uh-huh.
so it's like I feel like a lot of people are fascinated with their fourth animal. It's just like I don't like I want to use this more, because I'm
Mm-hmm.
sick of this other ones, I don't know if you feel that way, but
Well, yeah, I mean, I think for me, like um, controlling like the tribe is just like a scary thing. But like it's easier, like if they're small kids and I can like kind of get them in line if I need to because they're kids, not like big people yet. Um, but like but like it's SITE, right? Like I don't really know what that animal is like really doing. Like I can't even tell you. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like when I'm blasting, if I even blast, because like okay, well, like if I'm like doing like right now I'm doing a program for like teaching, right? I'm still getting like in the process of getting my certification, but when it comes to like reading through the stuff and taking like quizzes and tests and stuff, like I can do that easy. Like that like I mean I'm fine with that. But then when it comes to the projects themselves, like that's what stresses me out. And like I completely I feel like I have like a little mental breakdown. Like I can't move forward with like the projects. So like, that's what it's helpful to have like my husband. He like tells me like, oh, I'll help you with it, and then it's like, okay, that takes like the stress of, and I don't have to deal with it as much.
Right.
So, yeah.
It's interesting you said what you just said, because when you were saying it, I was like, I'm the opposite of you. like like the project part would be easier than the first part that you mentioned. Like I remember when I was in college, I took this course called Special Events Planning and Marketing, and I was never good in school after elementary school. So, but that course was like 100% practical. We had to run a fashion show, and we had to like sell the tickets, run the fashion show and stuff as part of our course, and there was like not as much theory involved, and like I totally thrive in that environment. But like you put me in like a like a study heavy kind of class, and I'm done, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're opposite there.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it was interesting when you said that. I'm like, that project thing sounds like it's like easier. It would be easier, but yeah, but everyone's obviously different types, right? So but it's funny that we talked about like, you the fascination with your last animal. So I was just picturing, I was like, you know what, if I spoke to you like, let's say like 20 years from now, maybe it would be the opposite. You'll be like the extroverted one like I am right now, and then I'll be like the quiet one, because I'm play blast consume sleep, right? So we'll like switch roles. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right, Manthy, last question for you, and we'll wrap up the interview, okay?
Okay.
Last question for you is just your sexual modalities. Your tester and visual. Tester is smell. So can you share like, and because you have SI, it's like your favorite smell and taste. So I noticed like with SE, it's like obsession with gathering all the different like smells and tastes and food and stuff. But with SI, it's like you have like your favorites, and you're kind of like you have your go-to that you keep going back to, whether that be candles or a specific kind of food. Can you share a little bit about your SI favorite
Okay.
smell and taste?
So I guess like I love like one of my hobbies is baking. Like I love baking. So I guess that could, go into that kind of thing. I don't know if I have like a favorite. I like enjoy experimenting with different things. So I guess like my favorite uh flavor or like kind of taste, like I'm more into like savory things. Like, I and like I pick up on things like, my husband loves sweets, and it's just like interesting to me that he likes that, and like I'm like I'd rather pick something savory over something sweet. Um but when it comes to smell, I prefer sweet things. Like taste savory, but when I'm like, smelling, I need to smell something, like I'd rather smell something like sweet.
Oh, interesting.
Or yeah. But like when it comes to like I used to like I have like a little diffuser for like essential oils and stuff, and like that like I prefer like mint, like just mint or spearmint, eucalyptus, stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
um like I guess I used to have like the diffuser going all the time, but then like eventually I forget about it. So until I remember I have it again, and I'll start back up with it. But like yeah, so I guess I don't know.
You're definitely a tester, because like I don't see very many audio kinesthetic or kinesthetic audio like going to depth with like, you know the aroma, the smell, this kind of stuff that you kind of describe, that you're talking about like the mint smell and stuff. And like I was like, nope, I'm like my people in my like sexual modalities, we don't do that. So so that's interesting. My
Interesting.
girlfriend's obsessed with candles, so and
Okay,
also
yeah.
also baking, so tester, right? So
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense.
Um, and then lastly is visual. So can you share a little bit about your visual memory and whatnot, and learning through visuals?
Yeah, like I guess when I used to like have to study for school, like I needed lots of color. Like I'd get like all these different like color pens, and like I take the way I take notes or whatever, or like summarize things, like I'd have to use different colors because I was kind of training my mind to be more photographic, like to like use photographic memory to like my advantage
What?
in terms of studying, but I needed color. And then when it comes to when someone's explaining something to me, I get very lost in details if I'm just like listening to them talking to me and explaining something. Like I won't remember what they're telling me, um, but if they're like drawing me a picture to explain like what they're telling me, I'm much more like likely to understand and like remember what they're telling me. So like my husband, very he likes to tell me things and like explain things in detail, and I get lost. So we bought a whiteboard, and so like I tell him like use the whiteboard to explain it to me. So then like he draws these little maps of things, and like that helps me like understand what he's trying to tell me. So yeah, very visual. Like, and then when I remember things, like yeah, like I use my like I don't know, like if I recall details, like pictures are coming to mind. Like I kind of see the story going in my head. And when someone's telling me something, I need, like, I guess I like details of like physical details, whatever, so that I can like picture it in my mind when they're telling me the story.
Oh my God, we have like parallel lives. Like when you were telling me about like your husband like having a whiteboard and drawing stuff, I was like, oh my God. Like my girlfriend, she's also a tester visual, and then she doesn't. I've been telling her the same stuff for like months, and she doesn't. She doesn't know what's going on. So finally, one day, I'm like, you know what? Because I know she's tester visual, I got a flip chart, took some felt pen, started like writing stuff on it. I showed her, click right away, and I'm like,
Uh-huh.
oh my
Yeah.
God, I just need get a flip chart whiteboard. So, and then
Mm-hmm.
I think like for anyone out there who is like friends or is like dating someone that has it's like tester visual or visual tester, you need a flip chart or a whiteboard.
Yep, yep, for sure.
That's so funny. All right, Manthy, we'll wrap up the interview here. So thanks for coming out and sharing more about your life as being this specific type. And you're also super rare in the OPS community. So I think like it's super cool that like, more of your type is being represented because there's not many of you guys. So I think there's actually a lot. It's just that you guys are hiding. So,
Mm-hmm.
so, but it's cool that you came out. So I really appreciate that. So
Yeah, thanks for having me.
for sure. All right, take care. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks, you too. Bye.